So you'll often find me giving this advice where I say that optimizing health is the key to living your best life. But I have to admit that lately, things have been a little bit awry for me because of all this craziness of creating content, Aevy video school, getting a new office, moving houses. So a lot of late night work, ordering food from outside, no exercise, caffeine, and a few too many Diet Cokes start catching up to you. So a couple of nights ago, I found myself in a classic internet rabbit hole. You know how it goes, right? 1 minute, you're innocently Googling, why am I so tired all the time? And the next, thanks to the all-knowing algorithms, you'll start getting bombarded with all sorts of ads with remedies to fix your health, fix your life, and whatnot. I found myself in this situation where for days I was being targeted for all these probiotic, gut supplements, gut health content. Honestly, it felt like every health issue I looked up somehow linked back to the world inside your intestines. But the more I scrolled, the more I wonder that what is the real story behind all this gut health hype? Is gut health actually the secret to human health and longevity that we've been missing all along? Are probiotics actually the cure-all they're made out to be? Or is this yet another wellness fad being amplified by the internet? As usual, the full story is more complicated and more fascinating than it appears on the surface. And today, that's what we're going to do. We are going to deep dive into the curious case of gut health science, probiotics. We will unpack some of the latest research, analyzing the key players, and bust some myths with Dr. Pal to emerge with the more nuanced and clear-eyed perspective on one of the biggest health topics at the moment. Now, full disclosure, I am no health expert. I'm just here to present my research and everything I've learned from doctors and research papers to tell you all about the industry from a new point of view. So, first things first. What exactly do we mean when we talk about gut health? Most people think of the gut as just the stomach and intestines, the organs responsible for breaking down food and absorbing nutrients. But there's much more to it than that. Did you know that less than half of the cells in our body belong to humans? The rest of them belong to microbes like bacteria, fungi, viruses, and more. So to our 30 trillion human cells, we have on average about 39 trillion microbial cells. By that measure, we're only 43% human. Now, these microbes colonize every surface of our body exposed to the outside world, but the capital city is the gut. As a famous microbiologist puts it, we are not individuals, we are walking, talking ecosystems. Now, the notion that these microbes in the gut are important for health is not entirely new. Over a century ago, Nobel laureate Elie Metchnikoff theorized that health could be enhanced by tweaking the intestinal microbe with host-friendly bacteria found in yogurt. So he literally drank sour milk every day until his death at the age of 71. However, in the recent decades, research into the gut microbiome and probiotics has absolutely exploded. A quick PubMed search about the term gut microbiome yields over 90,000 scientific papers, with more than half of those published just in the last 5 years. Now, from all of this research, I want to break down the major discoveries so that you're able to understand your bodies better. Trust me, it's all very fascinating, so hear me out. Firstly, did you know that each person's gut microbiome is extremely unique? It's so individualized, almost like a microbial fingerprint. Even identical twins only share around 37% of their gut bacterial strains. And what is it that determines your gut makeup? It's basically a product of your genes, birth mode, whether you're born from a vagina or C-section, early diet, antibiotic exposure, environment stress, and of course, long-term diet and lifestyle. So, in a very real sense, you are what you eat. Or rather, you are what your microbes in your gut eat. Did you know these gut microbiomes are actually talking to our brain? They interact with the central nervous system via the vagus nerve and other pathways in a bidirectional gut-brain axis.
Whoa, stop. Did you like the way that video was edited? Well, I'm doing a free masterclass where I will be breaking down the entire fundamentals of video editing and how you can understand video editing and go on to get packages like 30 LPA. So if you're interested, click the link in the description to register for the masterclass.
I'll tell you what that means. So this gut-brain axis is basically a complex communication network that connects our GI tract and the central nervous system, allowing the gut and brain to communicate with each other. Now, this communication is not just one-sided, it's bidirectional, meaning that signals can originate in the gut and influence the brain, and vice versa. Secondly, did you know that these microbes also make the molecules that influence our minds? We've all heard of serotonin, right? The happiness hormone that's targeted by many antidepressants. But did you know that an estimated 90% of your body's serotonin is made in the gut, and that certain bacteria strains can also boost its production? Now, research is still new around this, but the possibilities are endless. The same goes for GABA, which is a calming neurotransmitter, and BDNF, which is a growth factor involved in forming new neural connections. In fact, scientists are now exploring psychobiotics as a potential treatment for mental health issues, and we've just gotten started. You know, the microbiomes that we're exposed to when we're just born, they can have a very significant impact on our life. The first few years of a baby's growth represent a very critical window in microbiome development, with profound implications for long-term health. According to Nature Journal, kids who grew up with dogs had a lower chance of developing asthma because of the bacteria they got from them. Additionally, exposing children to dirt increases the diversity inside the gut microbiome and is extremely beneficial. Take a look at this. This is something called Hygiene hypothesis, which is basically the earlier a child is exposed to different types of germs, the stronger his or her immune system becomes. You see, our immune system loves fighting. It loves being engaged in battles. So when you're exposing it to a lot of bacteria, viruses, it fights all these folks and develops a robust defense mechanism very early on. In fact, a very similar principle underlies how vaccinations work as well, where exposure to a harmless form or part of a pathogen trains our immune system to respond effectively to future infections. So, you know how all our childhood we've been told that bacteria is bad, mud is bad, dirt is bad? I guess that was not completely true. The next important discovery was around microbes being used as medicine. One of the most impressive proofs of concept for microbiome medicine is something called fecal microbiota transplantation, which is basically transferring stool from a healthy donor to a gut of a sick patient to restore microbial balance. FMT has in fact shown remarkable efficacy in treatments recurring C. difficile infections and is now being explored for a range of other conditions from IBD to autism. New delivery methods like poop pills, microbial consortia, and super elite donors are also making this practice more standardized and scalable. One of the more important things that we learned in the last few years about gut is that diversity is the key. So a gut microbiome, which is rich in different types of bacteria, is generally associated with better health outcomes, while a depleted or imbalanced microbiome has been linked to a laundry list of issues. This basically happens when the bad bacteria takes over, and it can happen for a variety of reasons like lousy diet, chronic stress, antibiotic overuse, and environmental toxins. But the worrisome part here is the consequences aren't just confined to our digestive tracts. Because of the gut-brain axis that we just spoke about, dysbiosis or this imbalance in the gut can cause an insane number of problems, including irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease, obesity, metabolic disorders like diabetes, allergies, asthma, autoimmune conditions, anxiety, depression, skin issues like acne, eczema, and the list goes on. In short, your gut plays a very vital role in your well-being. So it's no wonder that gut health has become a wellness holy grail. It's a good thing, not a bad thing. But there is something else that I want to talk about here, as I'm also a consumer of ads, consumer of content, and consumer of all the products that you all are also being sold to. I've noticed this trend on the internet, okay? Every time there's news about some emerging science that's vital to our health, it starts taking different forms. I'll tell you what I mean by that. See, when you combine a captivating idea, like the notion that these tiny microbes in your gut could be the key to health and happiness, with the power of internet and the 24/7 media cycle, you have recipe for runaway buzz. Terms like fix your gut, heal your gut, get to the root cause of your gut symptoms are thrown around on social media as bait to hook people. Probiotics claiming that they can do everything from making you lose weight to banish bloat to boosting your mood, clearing your skin are being sold everywhere. And the thing is, these are not being sold by doctors. These are just normal self-proclaimed health experts and brands that don't even have any affiliations with doctors.
In fact, one of the common probiotic supplements which is available in the market contains more sugar than Coke. So some of these gut supplements can actually end up harming us more than strengthening our gut and putting us in financial and health trouble. Watch this.
यार ये मैंने क्या पी लिया? पेट में बहुत दर्द हो रहा है।
अरे भाई, क्या तूने ये गट जूस पिया?
हाँ, ये रील पे एक बंदा बता रहा था कि दिन में 4 बार पियो तो बॉडी डिटॉक्स हो जाएगा। इसके लिए मैंने पी लिया।
अबे इससे गट हेल्थ खराब हो जाती है, हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट होना पड़ेगा तुझे।
हॉस्पिटल? मतलब मजबूत खर्चा हो जाएगा यार।
कम से कम 10 लाख, पर हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस तो है ना तेरे पास, वो कवर कर लेगा।
हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस मेरे पे तो नहीं है यार, इतना इंपॉर्टेंस है क्या इसका?
अबे यार रुक जा, मैं डिट्टो भाई को बुलाता हूँ, वो सब समझा देंगे तुझे। डिट्टो भाई!
ओए, याद रखना, जब भी कभी डॉक्टर या हॉस्पिटल के पास जाना पड़े तो हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस एक शील्ड की तरह एक्ट करता है। यानी हॉस्पिटल बिल्स, डॉक्टर की फीस, टेस्ट, सर्जरी बिल्स, ये सब तुम्हारा इंश्योरेंस प्रोवाइडर पे करेगा, तुम नहीं।
मतलब पूरे के पूरे 10 लाख हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस वाला देगा? पर मैं इसको खरीदूंगा कैसे?
अरे मैं हूं ना। देख, इंश्योरेंस बहुत डिफरेंट कंपनीज प्रोवाइड करती है और मैं इन सब को जानता हूं। तुझे बस ये छोटी सी फॉर्म फिल करनी है और मैं तुझे बेस्ट पॉलिसीज दिखा दूंगा और ये बेस्ट पॉलिसीज में से बेस्ट वाला चूज करने में मदद करूंगा।
पर ये पैसे मैं इंश्योरेंस वालों से क्लेम कैसे करूंगा? और अगर कोई धोखे से मेरा क्लेम रिजेक्ट कर दिया तो? और सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट बात, मतलब आप मेरे को इस बात के कितने पैसे चार्ज करोगे?
पहली बात, तुझे जितने सवाल पूछने हैं पॉलिसीज के बारे में पूछ ले, कंसल्टेशन बिल्कुल फ्री है। दूसरी बात, अगर तुझे कभी भी क्लेम फाइल करना हो तो तू मेरे पास आ जाना, मैं उसमें भी तेरी मदद करूंगा। और जस्ट इन केस इनवैलिड रीजंस की वजह से तेरा क्लेम रिजेक्ट हो जाता है तो मैं हूं ना, हम जाके ओम्बड्समैन पे कंप्लेन करेंगे और जब तक तुझे तेरा क्लेम नहीं मिल जाता आई विल बी देयर।
ओह, थैंक यू सो मच यार डिट्टो भाई। बट एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन, आप ये हेल्प के मामले में मेरे को बार बार एसएमएस तो नहीं करते रहोगे?
देख बेटा, मेरी प्राइवेसी पॉलिसीज इतनी स्ट्रांग है कि जब तक तू मेरी मदद नहीं मांगेगा मैं तुझे टेक्स्ट भी नहीं करूंगा।
वाओ!
डिट्टो भैया आउट।
See, not all gut supplements and probiotics are bad. Just like nothing with health is black and white. But I'm just telling you to
Keep your skepticism meter on. Anytime you see an ad for a gut supplement or health supplement, be a little bit wary and do your research on it. Do not take health advice from people who are not doctors and just claiming to be health experts. In fact, don't even listen to me. Do your own research because I sit and do mine very thoroughly, and I encourage you to do the same because at the end of the day, it is about what you're putting in your body, so you have to be very, very careful. Now, coming to probiotics, let me tell you what I found out from doctors and the research that I read about probiotics. First, let me explain what exactly are probiotics. So, probiotics are nothing but live microorganisms, typically bacteria or yeast, that are believed to provide health benefits when consumed in sufficient amounts. The term probiotic literally means for life and is the opposite of antibiotics. So, the basic idea is, since many ailments are associated with an imbalanced microbiome or dysbiosis, why not just add more of the good guys in your gut and crowd out the bad guys? It's a simple solution to fix our broken guts and restore microbial harmony. Now, this global probiotics market is expected to hit $73 billion by 2024 with supplements, functional foods, drinks, and even probiotic skincare that is flooding the marketplace. Now, the question here is, can these products actually deliver on their lofty claims, considering our guts are so unique and so diverse and the research is still very new? Let me tell you what I learned. While there's certainly promising research on probiotics for specific health conditions like diarrhea and IBS, but for the other, the evidence is often preliminary, mixed and limited to certain strains and populations. The European Food Safety Authority has rejected over 300 health claims for probiotics due to insufficient evidence. So basically what's happened is this trend of gut health and commercialization of probiotics has basically far outpaced the evidence. And let me break down the few problems with probiotics that the research calls out. So hear me out. So the first issue is with the strains. See, these probiotics, they're highly strain specific, which means that benefits shown from one strain may not necessarily translate to others. But many brands on the internet, what they do is they'll make generalized claims for their products based on research from different strains. Have you ever seen a probiotic bottle or packet? They'll always call out the CFUs. Now I'll tell you what that means. So probiotics are basically quantified by colony forming units, with higher CFUs often equated with greater efficacy. But what is the optimal CFU count? That varies widely by strain and by purpose. So some of the most research-backed strains also work at doses of 1 billion CFU, while others may require 100 billion or more. Virtually no brands disclose the evidence behind their CFU counts, leaving consumers in the dark. Another big problem is survivability. See, for any probiotic to work, the bacteria that you're consuming, the live bacteria, it actually has to survive the acidic journey through the stomach to make it alive in your gut. But most of the probiotics may not have mechanism that will make it survive and reach the gut. So basically what will happen is you're consuming the probiotic, but the bacteria that you're consuming is arriving dead, which is basically paramount to nothing, because dead or severely weakened probiotics are unlikely to be effective and do anything for your health. Along with all of this, the most fundamental question that we need to answer is whether these gut supplements meaningfully shift or improve the gut microbiome in the first place, especially over long term. While some studies have shown that probiotic strains can temporarily colonize the gut, it's still unclear if they can durably reshape our gut ecology long term. More importantly, by focusing so heavily on taking these supplements, we may actually be missing the forest for the trees. Emerging research suggests that the best way to support a healthy gut microbiome is to feed the good bugs which are already living in our gut with fiber-rich, whole plant foods, not necessarily by adding more gut bacteria through these gut supplements or probiotics. In fact, even the doctors I was talking to again and again recommended fiber. A leading microbiologist says that the single biggest change in our diets in the last 50 years has been the widespread removal of fiber as our food system became more and more processed. We're now eating less than 15 grams of fiber per day, when our ancestors and modern hunter-gatherers ate upwards of 100 grams from fiber-rich plants. Fiber, in short, is microbial manna. It's the food they love and can't get enough of. You know, we humans can't even directly digest fibers. It's these microbes that do it. When they chow down on fermentable fibers like inulin, oligosaccharides, they pump out something called short-chain fatty acids that strengthen the gut barrier, dial down inflammation, and even influence gene expression in metabolic and immune cells. A fiber-poor diet, on the other hand, starves out these bacteria and creates a kind of ripple effect across the body and the brain. Studies have shown that low fiber intake can trigger gut barrier dysfunction, cause system-wide inflammation, insulin resistance, and change our mood and cognition. Over time, a deficient microbiome may raise the risk of chronic diseases like obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and even neuropsychiatric disorders. The problem is, most of these gut supplements or probiotics don't address the underlying nutrient deficiency that fuels the dysbiosis in the first place. You can swallow billions of these lab-grown bacteria, but without feeding them the food they want, they are just going to pass through your gut transit like tourists. So, many microbiome experts argue that the first step to healing any gut protocol should actually be ramping up plant diversity and crowding out processed junk. One of the doctors I spoke to, he recommended and said that we should be eating 40 grams of fiber per day with an emphasis on leafy greens, colorful veggies, whole grains, nuts, and seeds. Again, if you want to improve your gut, do not listen to my advice on how to fix your gut health. Go ask a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm just a consumer, just like you, who gets ads for a lot of these products with baseless claims. So I'm just trying to make you aware and maybe be a little more skeptical. There is no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to gut health. What works for one person may not work for you because our guts are so unique. And what's beneficial for one condition could be harmful for another. To bust some more myths around this, we also spoke to Dr. Pal and asked him what his thoughts were about all of these trends, and here is what he had to say.
So Dr. Pal, we'd like to bust some myths around gut health. Myth 1. A healthy gut means you have daily bowel movements. While daily bowel movements are often seen as a sign of good gut health, are there any other factors that people need to be assessing while thinking about their gut health?
So daily bowel movement has been associated with good gut health for a long time. But if you look scientifically, it might not be true. If you have daily bowel movements, it's well and good. But if you don't have, you don't have to beat up yourself, because many of my patients, even for normal people, will have one bowel movement like every 2 to 3 days. And that is completely normal. It is based on their motility. The problem is, when they have been having a same kind of frequency, let's say like once every 2 days and 3 days, and now they're having once every 7 days or once every day, then that is a problem for them. And the second one is the consistency of the stool. So let's say that they have been like, smooth, soft, and now it is like loose, watery, or it is very hard and straining. Then these are the two main things that we should look at.
How reliable is that Bristol stool chart? Is that a good proxy for having good poop versus bad poop?
That is the only tool chart that we are relying on from our practice.
Okay, okay, lovely.
This
So
has
if
been like
somebody,
well researched, and we use that all the time on a daily basis to show that to our patients to say, hey, please show us in terms of
okay,
where you stand.
lovely. So is that something that everybody watching the video should essentially use while trying to assess their poop? Is that a proxy for them understanding that how their poop is going on a day-to-day basis? Is that something that they can use?
Usually, yes. Usually, 3 to 4 is considered as, like a normal for that particular person. But, if it is happening on a daily basis, if it is persistent and it is a constant problem, then that particular person will need some medical attention.
Now coming to the second question and the second myth. Probiotics are essential for everyone to maintain good health. So, from all the research I did around this video, what I can tell is that the probiotics industry has exploded, and I feel like the commercialization of probiotics has kind of outpaced the evidence. What are your thoughts about this?
So probiotics is one of the mostly overhyped market, and that has been pretty much used and exhausted here in US, and I think that has been catching up in India as well now.
I think in the last 2 weeks, the number of ads I've got for probiotics has been insane.
Correct. So I think people should understand that probiotic itself is not bad. Okay, probiotic basically means that we are giving the good gut bacteria to the intestine so that it can plant a seed, and that seed can grow into a big tree so that all the good gut bacteria can grow significantly. So probiotic is the word which is the problem. Probiotic means good gut bacteria. So probiotic is good, but probiotic can be achieved naturally and from synthetically based on these artificial supplements. So naturally occurring probiotics include fermented foods like dahi, dokla, dosa, Italy, and kanji from Punjab. India is one of the country where they have like individual fermented food from each and every state, and we are so culturally diverse that we should be proud of ourselves where every culture has its own fermented ethnic food. That is natural probiotic, and that is absolutely good. I recommend my patients to take at least one fermented food with every meal, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The problem comes when it is put in a capsule and when you swallow. Yes, this capsule might have like 1 billion or 10 billion kind of bacteria, what they are claiming, which might be even true. But the thing that we don't know is that 1 billion bacteria is the one that you need.
Understood. I have a follow-up question. You spoke about fermented foods. Are all fermented foods always good for your gut? Because isn't beer also fermented?
I know. I was anticipating this question. I was anticipating this question. So kombucha. You must have heard that. That's a fermented food that we actually recommend to for all our patients to drink even on a daily basis if they can handle the taste. But what happens with the more alcohol is alcohol has a direct effect on damaging the gut bacteria as well. So when you balance it out, the alcohol effect actually is significantly more than the fermentation effect with beer.
Got it. And what are your thoughts about these 7-day detoxes, 3-day cleanses? Are they helpful? Is that something that can help us with gut bacteria, or just taking care of our gut health? Or is gut health a long-term process? Is achieving good gut health a long-term process?
Right. So if you look at gut health is the bottom line for every other problem. You take diabetes, you take heart disease, you take hypertension. The gut health is the main problem for the hormonal imbalance that we are seeing right now, which is a big obesity epidemic that's going on. But if you dive deep into it, it is a very long-standing issue. It is not like a short-term trick, and it is a marathon. It is not a sprint. The only way that you can lose 7 inches of belly fat in 7 days is by holding like this for 7 days. And that is the only short-term solution that you can ever get. All this that we are talking about is long-term. So just because you are taking like fermented foods every day doesn't mean that you're going to lose weight in 7 days, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. We're not talking about like a short-term results. So if you keep doing this, your body will start changing. You love your body love you back, not right away in a span of like 6 months to 1 year.
Got it. A follow-up question. I love what you said, that gut health is taking care of your gut is a marathon, not a sprint.
But if you look at a lot of advice that a lot of these wellness influencers are spreading online, I feel like a lot of the information spread is not grounded in science. A lot of it is oversimplified, exaggerated, and sometimes also just plain wrong. So how do you battle this, there's so much information overload? How do you figure out what is misinformation and what is correct?
Right. The simple answer is subscribe to my channel. But the bigger answer is that I think that is the biggest problem that I want every doctors to be on the platform as well, where we have a socially responsible element over here to bust these myths, because what is happening is every patient has this access to social media, and then the more nowadays I'm spending time with my patient not to convince him to do something, convince him not to do something.
Exactly, and that's what I've been seeing, reading online as well. People consuming all sorts of things in the name of gut health, which is actually giving them more issues instead of fixing their gut health.
So for in general, if somebody is watching this video, if you want to promote gut health, just remember that any kind of artificial supplements is not going to support your gut health on a long-term basis. That's for sure. More than that, what we should actually focus on is making sure that we feed our gut the right thing that the gut wants, which is our gut doesn't like anything that becomes processed, anything that becomes in a package. So that's why we always say whenever something comes in a packet, when you're tearing a packet, just imagine that you're actually tearing a piece of your intestine. So that is something that I
Lovely
can
analogy.
that I tell my patients all the time. And the second thing is your gut actually needs a lot of fiber. So every person needs at least 25 grams of fiber per day. And the fiber is available in fruits, vegetables, and complex carbs. So basically, we call this as a rainbow method. Your plate should be so colorful with all the color of the rainbow on the plate. And I don't want you to paint one. You want to actually get the foods rich in these colors, fill them on the plate. If you do that, your gut's future will be bright.
With all of that being said, honestly, I believe we are in the midst of a genuine scientific revolution that will radically transform our understanding of health and diseases in the coming decades, and I'm super excited for it. I hope you got to learn something new about the gut today. That is it for today's video. My name is Achina Maya, and for more videos like this, do not forget to hit the subscribe button. See you in the next video.
Want to learn more about finding the right insurance plan for you? Check out Ditto Insurance at joinditto.in and see how their expert advisors can help.